PNR Networks is a member of Patreon. Show your love for our shows by joining our ongoing fundraising campaign and get some fantastic perks in return. Check it out and become a Patreon sponsor. You can sign up at patreon.com, patreon.com/PNR Networks. And thanks for your support.
This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Why do I have a feeling we've done this before?
No, we did something like it last week.
Oh.
We're doing 2 updates on classic shows from 2010 to give everybody a chance to catch up with the technology that's going on out there.
Oh. You mean the technology that I don't understand?
Well, no, this is not technology. You understand the end result, which is good. Yeah. This is all stuff to help you...
Push button, movie comes out. Yay!
Well, there's that, but it also helps you find... ways to enjoy movies more where you live.
That's true.
And that's why we're doing that. Plus, we have a few other specials. Got stuff we've forgotten the last 2 weeks. We got a Take a Bow segment and more. All this week right here, right now. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
Like sands through the remakes.
This is Subject Cinema.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
This town needs an enema.
Celebrating a decade of film podcasting. Lasting out of Beantown, USA, you're tuned into Subject Cinema with T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown.
Directive.
Oh, behave. Yeah.
I volunteer as tribute.
Suppose you run your business and let me run mine. Here's looking at you, kid.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome TC and Kim.
Welcome to Subject Cinema. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
Hi, I'm Kim Brown.
Subject Cinema number 566, May 14th, 2017. How was your week?
Stressful.
Yep, everybody's had a stressful week. It's been full of stressful stuff.
Yeah.
Work and more work and weather and Eurovision and all kinds of stuff.
I don't know what it was with people this week. Everybody's so angry. There's like some real negative vibe thing happening. I think the whole planet needs to take a step back. Everybody needs to cleanse.
We're into the earthy, crunchy moments of the show.
Everybody needs to like find their, clear their chakra and find their key and stuff like that and just relax. Seriously.
This week we're going to do another second show that's a revisited show. Mm-hmm. We're calling this one Movies in Your Own Backyard Revisited. Back on April 18th, 2010, we did the original of this show, and a lot of things have changed since that point. This is designed to help you get up to date with what's available now. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that's come along.
Oh, definitely.
And the idea is for you to have fun where you are, to help you look and find out what you can find in your area.
Definitely.
All the stuff is coming from the Boston perspective because that's where we are. So, but look in your local papers, your local internet, whatever you need to find out. Really quickly. Oh, go ahead.
That's one thing that I want to talk about real quick. Mm-hmm. And I've mentioned this on my own show, Platinum Rose's Garden, over at PlatinumRosesGarden.com.
Plug.
Yay. Is the whole idea of film festivals. We've really hyped a lot of film festivals. And it's one of
We have a whole huge festival show coming up next week. We'll talk about that.
Film festivals are really, really cool. And if you think, well, I don't live in a very populated area, or I live out in the farm country, whatever, there can't be any film festivals around where I live, you'd be surprised.
9 times out of 10, there's something going on. Either if it's not a film festival per se, it might be a film series at your local library. Mm-hmm. Could be anything like that.
Yeah.
And that's actually the first segment we're going to talk about. And that's finding stuff in your neighborhood for various things.
Yep.
First of all, just going briefly over what we talked. Sorry, I hope that didn't pick up. I just hit the mic cord. We'll go over briefly what we discussed on our first show, and that was film societies in your area. Here in Boston, there's the Clotrudis Film Society. We were part of that. But there are film societies all over. Some of them, and you do. The strange thing is, a lot of them you don't need to be local to join.
No.
Clotrudis has members in, I think 15 different states.
You know, thanks to the internet, you can wind up being a member of a film society that's on the other side of the country
but
from
you can't take advantage of the local stuff. That's what this show is supposedly about. So.
But the cool thing is, when you're part of a film society, even if you can't be there in person, you can all see the same films and then discuss it on message boards and stuff like that. You know, you can say, hey, I saw this really cool film, and somebody else can say, oh, I've never seen that. I'll check it out because you recommended it. And then they can get back to you and be like, hey, I saw that film. And hopefully they say, oh, that was really awesome. Thanks for turning me on to that. Here's one you might like. And it goes back and forth and back and forth. And then everybody finds out about all these new films, and your mind is broadened, and everybody's, horizons are expanded. And that's really cool.
It is. And that is a great... When Clotrudis has a regular post board, they also have a Facebook site where they share stuff like that. There's film societies like this in a lot of big cities. I mean, the ones I'm most aware of are, of course, there's several in New York and Los Angeles. There's one in Seattle, one in Chicago that I'm aware of, one in Denver, one in Vancouver, British Columbia, a number of other places all over the country and all over any country you're in. And, of course, there's plenty in like London and places like that. So you can find a film society. And you can also, if you can't find or don't know their site when you're looking it up online through Google or whatever, check meetup.com. Meetup.com has really exploded in the past 7 or 8 years. There's like 8 or 9 different film groups in the Boston area. We actually have one, but it's been dormant for a couple of years. And we're going to get it back off the ground at some point this summer. But I hope that you can look that way. I'm sorry, you were going to say?
See, the thing about film societies, which is really cool, especially with the advent of the internet, is the fact that you can have a film society where it's just like the Boston Film Society. I'm just using this as an example. Or the, Schenectady Film Society or whatever. Just...
Upper Mongolia Film
Oshkosh
Society.
Or, whatever.
Gosh.
But that's, and that's cool.
Ouch, that was carbon dating.
That's cool, don't get me wrong. But if you do a little digging a little deeper, if you're like, well, that sounds really neat, but it's not really what I like because I'm really into martial arts movies. I'm really into anime. I'm really into horror or Western movies or stuff like that. If you do a little digging, you can find film societies pretty much for every genre of film or even specific actors or directors or whatever. Or if you don't find one, make one up yourself. You
can do that too if you're ready. You got to be ready to do it.
You do. It's a bit of a responsibility.
But you don't necessarily need a film society to do that kind of thing either. You need to look in your local paper. The Brattle Theatre in Cambridge is host to a number of these kind of things that go on every year. In the spring and the fall, a group called The Dockyard brings in amazing documentaries this last year. And a lot of times, sometimes they're world premieres. Other times they've shown at festivals. This year they brought in the award-winning Russian Woodpecker, which won my film Best Doc Award last year, 2015. And they show an amazing array of things. And they always have discussions with the filmmakers or the directors or whatever after. But on the other end of the scale, there's Trash Night. Once a month, a group in Boston that runs a site called Trash Night, I forgot what society they're a part of, they bring in ultra bad films. One of the Trash Night shows they had a few years ago was the TV movie Wonder Woman with Kathy Lee Crosby. They have all these things, and they show. Sorry, they show once a month. I think on a Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. At the Brattle Theater in Cambridge. And it's a regular ticket, but they sell out. You've got to buy tickets early because they sell out like crazy. The Brattle is one of the smaller theaters in town. It only holds 250 people. So and it's smack dab near Harvard. So you got to get your tickets early or you're going to lose out on stuff like that.
It is a terrific place to see a movie, though.
It is,
We love the Brattle's balcony. We don't fit the Brattle balcony.
Yeah, we haven't been able to get in the balcony for a while.
Yeah.
But it's an awesome place. The last film we saw in the balcony was Winnebago Man. Everything else we've been downstairs for.
Well, I saw Psycho by myself.
That was 2 years before that.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you look around for stuff like that. And you also might want to check, and this is an interesting idea because I just stumbled on it by one day. Gentleman up here runs a calendar called Joe's Free Films. It's a Google calendar. He takes the time and the effort to list all the free films playing in the Boston metro area every month. This is films on, films at hotels, films at libraries, films at, anybody that's showing a free film around Boston, Cambridge, also in the central. It doesn't come out like to Revere, a place like that, but central Boston and the immediate communities. And there's a ton of stuff every day. Mm-hmm. He's got all the colleges listed. He's got everything. And there's a ton of stuff. And public is usually welcome, which is why they're on those calendars.
Yeah.
We actually have a link to that site, to Joe's calendar, on the eCinemaBoston site, which he was gracious enough to allow us to do. And it's like the stuff that, you can find all kinds of little. That's how you found the one you went to at the library that one time. Oh, it doesn't help that our friend Michael. It doesn't hurt that our friend Michael from Clotilde works there, but it's like you find all kinds of stuff.
Another good place to look for stuff, and some people might disagree with me on this, but I think it's still a good place, is Yahoo groups. If you go to Yahoo groups, you can
that's
find.
How Clotilde communicates most of the time.
Yeah, you can find a lot of really nice movie groups or. Sites devoted, groups devoted to specific genres, specific actors, directors, whatever. And if you can find something in your area, like around where you live, that's even cooler. It's great to talk with somebody that's on the other side of the country, like I said, and find out that, hey, wow, somebody else likes, Eurasian spy movies or something, and I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
It is neater when you can find somebody around where you live, sometimes.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great point too. Google Plus has those too. I've never really gotten into Google Plus. Yahoo is always where I congregated when I find groups.
Me too.
And Facebook occasionally, but it's a great place. Another thing that's we talked about on the original show that needs to be brought up is finding your local film theaters that have memberships.
Yep.
Memberships are...
That's really become a big thing in the last few years.
It is, especially for the single theaters and the art theaters, because they are able to sustain themselves. Over the years, we've been members. Right now, our memberships have lapsed, unfortunately. We can't afford it. Of the Brattle and the Coolidge Corner Theater in Brookline. And we love both of those theaters. And there's 2 or 3 other ones that are up here that have memberships, including the Friends of Film Club at the Museum of Fine Arts, which also shows some great stuff. And a lot of times you'll find a lot of the artsy films that you might hear about at like film festivals like Sundance and those will play a lot of these theaters because they're indie films. And not all of them are artsy. I mean, Blue Ruin could hardly be considered an artsy film except in the Art of Violence, which it was raved about.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of film that doesn't go to your multiplex. It's going to be at a Brattle or a Coolidge or MFA.
And that's something that we want to bring up also, I think is really important to bring up. When you talk about independent films or art films, some people instantly take a step backwards. Don't be scared of those terms. If you think, I'm just your average movie guy or gal, all that stuff's really not going to appeal to me, you're really selling yourself short. You should really... I'm not saying, you should jump into a Godard Film Festival.
Art film or independent film does not always mean the Animaniacs version. Alouette. Jonte Alouette. Yeah. Sometimes it means Brick.
Right.
Wrist Cutters. Animal Kingdom.
Yep.
whole slew of great films.
Right. When you hear the term art film, I know a lot of people think of like a black and white shot of fruit rotting on a windowsill with some guy in Danish talking about how useless life is. And I mean, that's
terrible.
No offense to any Danish filmmakers out there. And a lot of art films are very esoteric, and they are weird.
Can I point out something just for edification?
Yeah.
The stereotypical art film, when it comes to the two of us, I tend to like them better than she does.
You think? Well, yeah.
Pina.
Yeah.
The Strange Little Cat.
True. No, you're right. And no, you're absolutely right.
So it's weird because I would have never thought I liked those 10 years ago.
But other people would say art films, and they'd say, well, look at something brilliant like The Future, and we'd both run out of the room screaming. Yeah. But
then it happened. I died.
Oh, stop.
Or Oslo, August 31st, which, while it's shot brilliantly, is so damn depressing. You just it'll suck the air right out of the room.
Oslo, August 31st is a really great example of a really powerful independent film.
Yeah.
It is
if
also
you can get through it.
It is also an example of a film that's, when it's done, you want to go out and eat an entire chocolate silk pie by yourself.
And then drown that in a case of Miller.
Because that... Oh, I think I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Lime-A-Ritas?
Bailey's Irish Cream.
It
would go with pie.
Tim Tams.
We still have never figured out how to do that Tim Tam drinking
I know,
because we can't find any
anywhere.
damn Tim Tams.
They supposedly have them at Target, but I haven't been able to find them there. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Anybody who'd like to send us a box of Tim Tams.
No, we don't need a box of Tim Tams. I can order them from Amazon. That's why I don't want to get them to the mail. Thank you. Anyway.
But seriously, I mean, I'm being funny and I'm trying to be flip and stuff like that because it's kind of my thing. But when it comes to independent films and things labeled art films or things labeled esoteric cinema and stuff like that, I know people who are like, oh, I'm not smart enough to get that stuff. And I'm like, don't put yourself down like that. If you go to a film and you come out of it and that film made you feel something, guess what? That means you got it.
And here's something else for those people that say that. Remember, Ed Wood was an independent filmmaker. No studio would touch his stuff. Technically, those are all independent films. The same with Herschel Gordon Lewis and all of his splatter gore, which people love. He has a huge cult following. And so on. Those are independent films, too, on the other end, on the extreme end of the genre scale.
Yeah, so you might be a fan of independent film and not know it. Yeah, which is kind of neat, really.
It is. So I've forgotten where I was at all the beginning of that, but there's besides that, the film festivals and the membership theaters are a great place to find film series as well. The Coolidge Corner here in Brookline in the Boston area has a number of monthly series that they do with several other organizations. They do one with the French Cultural Society. They do one with the Goethe Institute, which are German films. And they do Sounds of Silence, which is a silent film every month. And they do a classic. They also host the local edition of Talk Cinema, which is a national film preview and discussion group. Rather expensive one, but it is there. And they have all kinds of things. And those are all places, especially the Talk Cinema, but they usually these kind of things have it where you get something special with it before or after. Science on Screen has a speaker usually before they do the movie. And one of the things that we've fallen in love with at the Coolidge is where they've taken classic films and put new scores to them. We both adored the live performance of Metropolis, which the Alloy Orchestra wrote an entirely new score for. Yeah. And it was marvelous. And I mean, just marvelous.
The whole Science on Screen thing that they've done at the Coolidge has also been really cool. If you've never been to a film that has a talk before or after the film, and you think, well, I'm not really sure I'd like something like that, you should definitely give it a shot. Simply because, A, you might learn something, and B, you might actually meet other people that are into stuff that you're into, and you make new friends that way. And we've seen some... you think of all these different films, and you're like, well, how could you have a talk about that with this? Why would you have a talk about something when it comes to this film? And the amazing thing is how well it works, even when it's a film that you're like, what? We saw Who Framed Roger Rabbit at the Coolidge.
Yes.
And there was a talk given by this very nice, very weird lady.
She was
about
extremely strange. It was funny as hell, too.
Tune physics. Now, the second I hear the word physics, my brain goes, bye-bye. You know, that's not me. I am not a technical person. I am a, ooh, what does this button do person. And I admit that. But I'm listening to this woman talk about physics, and I'm like, wow, this is really entertaining. And oh my God, I'm actually getting this. God, this makes sense.
I don't remember what we saw at the Coolidge. It was, again, a Science on Screen thing, but one of the presenters, one of the lecturer that night, was a gentleman working on the Hadron Collider. Because he's in that movie about it.
Was it Star Trek 2?
No, this was like just a year or so, 2 years ago, right before that Particle Fever came out. And that's how come I recognize him. I'm like, that's the same guy that was just at the Coolidge last week.
I don't remember. That's terrible.
I don't either. It was
I'm
one
assuming
of those.
It was a science fiction movie, I would guess.
It might have been. It might have been a documentary. You never know.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
I mean,
but
they had... And
they
when
have
they
amazing
showed,
speakers.
When they showed the original 1930s version of King Kong, which I would definitely recommend seeing on the big screen because it's really amazing, they had a speaker there talking about the conservation of gorillas and how gorillas are facing extinction, and all the, you know, the fact that humanity and all of its infinite wisdom, Dr. Evil quotes, has really amped up the planet and the lifestyle and the ecosystem of gorillas, which are important, you know, and it was so cool. So if you see something where there's a speaker going to be there, definitely give that a try. Don't think like, oh, well, I won't get it, you know. Yeah. And the cool thing is, if they have a speaker and it's a director or somebody like that, because they usually have a question thing, a question segment, you know, a Q&A segment. If you have a question and you think, oh, well, my question's dumb, or my question...
Nah, don't ever think that.
Don't ever think that. Raise your hand, ask your question, because trust me, I've asked some really weird questions. And I've always gotten a really good answer.
Yeah.
So definitely, you know, spread your wings a little bit. Give it a try.
When we come back, we're going to talk about the new aspects, the stuff that we need to bring up that's all happened since 2010, and that's coming.
When Subject Cinema returns.
Real movies for real people. Subject Cinema.
Hello, everybody. On behalf of Nick, Joe, and Vern, we would like to invite you back for a brand new season of the As You Watch podcast.
On our upcoming season, we will be talking about franchises, trilogies, and series of movies that you will recognize and some that you may not.
We will also continue to post fun and insightful interviews with many people in the world of entertainment, as well as feature a lot of great guests from other sites and podcasts.
So be sure to check us out on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Podomatic, and on Facebook.
And don't forget to check out our older episodes on our site, asyouwatch.wordpress.com.
If you're looking for great films, well, that's okay. You'll like us anyway. Subject Cinema.
Hey guys, welcome back to Subject Cinema this week. I'm Kim Brown.
I'm TC Kirkham, Subject Cinema number 566. We are talking about movies in your own backyard revisited, a redo of a show we did in 2010 and updating it with some more current information. A lot of things have changed since our original show.
Yes.
And this particular show is designed to guide you that way. We'll have links in the show notes where you can check out things. And I hope that you guys will get on board with some of them, because some of them could really benefit you. One of the ones that really is a benefit are a number of new ticketing applications out there. Most places are, most of our listeners are aware of Fandango and MovieTickets.com. They're the two biggest ticketing organizations out there. But there are three of them out there, and I've only jotted down two. I'm going to have to look up the other one while we talk. That are now specializing in discounts. Two of them are membership driven, and the other one is just a basic, the theaters get involved with it. And I've got to be honest, I'm a little irritated with one of them because I've been waiting. It's a great deal if we could ever get it to work, but they don't do couples, and it's really irritating.
Yeah.
MoviePass. MoviePass.com, you can go over to their site, and what they do is you pay a certain fee depending on what you want to do for each month. If you're at their top fee, I believe right now is $44, you can see a movie every day that month. Mm-hmm. One movie, regular, you have to pay extra for 3D or anything like that. Regular 2D movie, you can go to one every day with your MoviePass for that month.
Wow.
And most AMC theaters, most national amusements theaters take MoviePass now, although Showcase over here does not yet. They do take it at Woburn and a couple of other places. But it makes a way for real moviegoers and people who are obsessed with movies like us to go. Mm-hmm. The reason we haven't done it is because they don't have a couples rate, and you have to take your chances with the tickets. You could end up sitting separately if you have two people that want to go, and you each have to buy your own MoviePass pass.
Yeah.
Because when you have MoviePass, what you do is you bring up the app, you pick the movie you want to go see, you pick your seat, and then you pay. It's already paid for. That sends it to the MoviePass headquarters. When you get to the theater, you use your phone to hook up with it, and it spits out your ticket for you. Mm-hmm. The problem is, again, if you've got friends going, you can't buy more than one ticket on your membership, so it gets kind of convoluted.
Yeah.
They keep promising they're going to do couples eventually, but that's a promise that's been out there for 5 years now, and it hasn't been coming, so it's a good deal. I know that one of the people in Clotrudis, I'm not going to mention a name because I'm not sure which one it is, I think I know who it is, has a membership, uses it liberally, and says it's a really, really great thing. Because they can go to practically everything they want to because they buy the top level, and they can go to, think about it, $44 a month for 30 movies.
That's a great deal.
That is a hell of a deal.
Yep.
And like I said, you have to look around and see if it's available in your area. The more recent one of these is Atom Tickets, ATOM Tickets.com. And it is a ticketing system similarly close to MoviePass, except you are going to be... You can send a friend an invitation to come with you, and they can buy it, and it will end up on your account, which is a little bit different. And you start earning rewards. Atom Tickets is actually... I might be wrong. Everything I've seen, Will Ferrell is partnered in this somewhere. This was one of his things. Mm-hmm. He's a partner. I don't know if he's a silent partner or not, but he was involved with it when it launched. And it has become a fast rising service. You can find it most theaters, AMC again is participating. You can find it in a lot of major cities, and they have a great app. Their app is great because it has information not just on the current stuff, but you could often up to 2 months in advance you can get tickets for films that are coming out. They have really amazing deals on it too. You usually get a really good price on it. So if you go to you're looking at a show that has a ticket normal price $13.50 and you're paying $9 for it. That's a pretty good deal.
It is.
That's
a great
$4.50
deal.
off, $3.50 off.
Yeah.
Something like that. So that in that way is also a very good thing. I got to find the third one. So can you go over some ideas there?
Okay. Also, I think one of the really cool improvements that the theaters have brought over the last couple of years is the Star Pass that is Showcase Cinemas has that. I'm not sure about other theaters if they have it or not. If you have a Star Pass, which you can have if you're a couple, you just pass the card between you.
Yeah.
You collect points on the Star Pass, and the points you get them for pretty much as long as you show the card for pretty much anything you do at the theater. If you get tickets, you get points. If you get soda and snacks, you get points. If you're lucky enough to have a restaurant in your theater like we do, we've got a great restaurant at Showcase called Chatters. If you use them, you get points. And the points can add up to anything from a free popcorn, a free soda, a free movie ticket, pretty much anything along those lines. I think it's a fantastic deal. It's something that they'll ask you to sign up for. You just give a little information. They give you a little card, and it's something that can just make things a little easier for you when you're at the movie theater. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, and a lot of chains have their own clubs. I mean, Star Pass is the national music one. There's the Regal Crown Club for Regal theaters. AMC has its Stubbs. Although Stubbs charges $12 a year for their membership.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them are free. Santikos theaters, all the major theater chains have some sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually looking at the ArcLight membership a couple of weeks ago because we have an ArcLight cinema coming to Boston in next January or February. And I can't wait to get my hands on one of those.
Right.
Because it's going to be easy to get to the theater. It's right there at North Station. And they have great deals with their memberships. And it's going to be fantastic to have. I can't find the one I'm looking for. I'll bring it up later in the show if I can. If I can find it later. So that's... I apologize for that. There is another discount ticketing chain, and I will get to it. Okay, so... Say you want to have a party. And you want to earn a little bit of money. And you got a list of great films that you want to show your friends at this party. Did you know you can book your local theater and find local films with virtually no trouble on your end at all?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I did, actually.
Yeah. 2 services allow you to do this now. They're Tugg and Gathr. Now, granted, you have to make a certain amount of sales before they'll actually show the film for you. But Tugg.com has over 4,000 movies at their disposal, ranging from recent documentaries to classic cinema to animation. A little bit of everything. What you do is you partner with them. They help you book the cinema, and then you advertise it, and you have to sell at least 50% of the seats in order for the screening to actually take place.
Yep.
I do it several weeks in advance also. We've tried it a couple of times, didn't quite make it, so unfortunately, but we will in the future. The other one is Gathr.com, a division of AOL, and Gathr has a much more limited selection of films. There's only about 40 or 50 films at any given time that they do. But like Tugg, it operates the same way. Book your film into a local cinema and advertise it. A lot of times, fundraisers will use this. Number of groups around here showed Tugg screenings of Blood Brother a few years ago to help raise awareness and raise funds for their local church groups and such, which I thought was really something. Gathr is a lot more limited, and they have a fewer number of theaters that they work with, and not all theaters will accept them. Showcase, AMC, Kendall, Landmark, all will do Tugg. I'm not sure about Gathr. And Tugg is hard to get into bigger. They always want to get, I mean, the one complaint I've seen in the Boston area about screenings on Tugg, when you want to do the screening at the Kendall Square, they insist on like an enormous number of seats.
Right.
You have to sell like 80 out of 110. Whereas if you do it at AMC Boston Common, they usually require it to be 45 or 50 out of 160 in order to do it. So it varies. Tugg is at Tugg.com. Gathr is GATHR.com, no E. And you can check those out. You can also check out having your own drive-in. Did you guys know that? It's a little more complicated than that, but a company, there's a number of companies that will rent them, but a company called Airstream has become the leader in inflatable drive-in screens.
Yep.
And individuals can do this. They will let you do it if you can come up with the money and the venue and everything to raise money for charities or whatever. They'll help you license the film. They'll help you do everything. Airstream is available all over the country and various franchises around each city. Average rental is a little expensive. It's probably between $500 and $1,000 for a one-night thing. But they supply the popcorn. They supply the little carts for it. They supply the screen and the projector. They help you get the movie.
Yeah.
It's a very cool thing.
It's a really great idea for people that want to put together something for like a baseball team or a
and you can do it right there,
or stuff like that.
It's a great thing if you can afford it. And they do have smaller screens. You can do it in the backyard. You can do it for a party for a smaller screen, and that wouldn't require licensing if you're not charging for it. But if you go bigger, then you got to buy the licensing fees too, and they handle all the other stuff. They do a lot of the hotel stuff. They do the hatch shell, although the hatch shell screen is permanent.
Yeah.
They do a number of other things around the Boston area. And so it's really amazing what you can come up with. They have screens that range from 20 to 30 feet, depending on what you want, which are slightly smaller than old-fashioned drive-in screens. But, actually, as I'm just checking here, blah, 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 blah. They actually do have a top one that's 52 feet. So they have one that's big for big events. It's worth checking out if you're going to do a party or a fundraiser. And they'll help you get the film, but you have to license it if it's for money or for public consumption as opposed to a backyard party. And you can find out more at airscreen.com. I just thought that was a very cool idea.
It is a great idea.
Finally, the internet is a great place to interact about local movies and about movies in general. Mm-hmm. I don't remember if Letterboxd was around when we did this in 2010.
I don't think so.
I've become involved with Letterboxd, and I keep a running diary over there of what I see, and I find it. I've encouraged you to do it, but you never seem to do it. Anthony never seems to do it. You have it, you just never seem to do it. Letterboxd is actually based in Australia, but they have an international community. And they're a great place to talk about movies. You can leave your reviews. You can keep a diary. There's all kinds of things. You can submit films that aren't in it already, which I've done for a number of things that we've seen on screen or at festivals that haven't been in there. It's an all-around great way of interacting with people. Like the Yahoo group is for local people. Letterboxd lets you get in touch with people all over the world. If nothing else, they can recommend.
I'm on there more. I need to be on there more, but I'm on there now. I signed up. I'm in there every once in a while.
Yeah, I always update my movies, so if I can, I put my TV viewing in there too if I can, because the specials I watch, like the documentaries and stuff, just so I can keep track of them and remember to talk about them. It's a great place to be, and you don't have to have a membership. You can buy an associate membership for $50 a year. What that does is helps their bottom line. But it is not a requirement. And they're at Letterboxd, which is Boxed, BOXD. There's no E.com. Another site that I want to bring to your attention that I just enjoy going to is a site I've recently discovered out of the UK called 500daysofilm.com. I sent you a link. Did you ever check it out?
I have, yeah. It's a good site. It's very good.
It is. It's a great site, and it's just a privately run site about films. She puts together these great mock magazine covers for each week's stuff. And I was over there today, actually checking out some of the older reviews, and I'm surprised there aren't more comments and stuff on it because her writing is fun and she's fun. Her name is Jane Douglas Jones. And she runs this site with the reviews and top 10 lists and everything else. And she does have a weekly newsletter that comes out on Friday. And it's definitely a lot of fun because she has terrific opinion. Now, it is from the UK point of view. So some of the stuff that's out there isn't out in the US and vice versa. And the cinema stuff that she offers is not always like Netflix there and Netflix here are not the same.
Right.
There might be stuff that's only available in her region. But for the most part, she has a great site that tells everything, and it's worth checking out. And her site is at 500daysofilm.com. That's the number 500daysofilm.com. And I hope you go over and check it out. I don't know why I'm so hoarse today. I have no idea why this is happening. We would definitely be interested in wondering what you guys do for your local entertainment. Do you have something special in your neighborhood that makes movie going easier for you, like a special calendar or a special service that lists all the currently the current movies in your city?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have film societies or major film festivals in your area? We'd like to know. Write us at subjectcinema@PNRNetworks.com, and we will put it into our depository, because we keep track of all this stuff.
And if you want to talk about a film society that you're part of, or a film society that you're starting, or whatever, write us about that too, and we'll definitely talk up your stuff and hype it up, and people can come check you out.
And we got plenty more where that came from, so stick around.
Subject Cinema, we'll be right back.
No film is too good or too bad for us. This is Subject Cinema.
All right, Kristen, I am so excited that you've decided to do a podcast with me, but what are we going to do a podcast about? There's so many other movie podcasts. We got to do something original.
Well, I'm a big fan of Disney movies. What about something like that?
That's just kid stuff. What do we want to do that for?
Did you know that The Avengers is a Disney movie? Or that Pulp Fiction is a Disney movie?
Pulp Fiction is not a Disney movie.
It's technically owned by Miramax, which is part of Disney.
We are still going to talk about the Disney animated movies, though, right?
I thought you said that was kid stuff.
Well, I've got 2 kids. I got to be a good dad and stuff.
So be sure to subscribe to the Walt Sent Me podcast, where we discuss the various subsidiaries of the Walt Disney Studios, including the animated movies.
It's available on iTunes, Podomatic, and wherever you find great podcasts. And I swear, it's not kid stuff.
All movies, all the time. Subject Cinema.
It's time for RIFFTRAX. And it's not an easy job. They watch movies and they make jokes about them. Tell their jokes to microphones. Put the jokes into a file.
We're several weeks late on this because we kept forgetting to put it in the notes, and we kept forgetting to do it until we're done with the show each week, and it's like, damn it, we forgot again. We went a couple weeks ago to RIFFTRAX Live, first one for this year.
Mm-hmm.
1987?
91.
Right? 91.
Was when it was released.
Samurai Cop.
Oh,
Lord. Let's hear about it.
Oh, do I have to?
Yes.
Samurai Cop tells the tale of the crime syndicate known as the Katana Gang, which is taking over the cocaine trade in Los Angeles. And the LAPD have no idea what to do about it because they're all incredibly inept. And
badly dressed.
And badly dressed. And swear a lot. So they bring in a samurai cop from the San Diego Police Department to help to get rid of these evil bad men. Never mind that the person who is known as Samurai Cop is a gentleman named Joe Marshall, who is Caucasian, and
well, that doesn't matter.
Okay.
As long as you're wielding the right weapons, it doesn't matter.
I'm sorry, I can wear a cape that does not give me the right to call myself Batman. So anyway,
well, I should hope not. Those don't give you the right to say Batman either.
Fine. I can hold a gun and wear a t-shirt with a skull on it. Nobody's going to call me the Punisher. Anyway. Although Joe does...
You might be the Punish-her. Walked right into that one anyway.
Did you stay up all night waiting to use that? Because
no.
it has a feeling that's been waiting for a while to get used.
I can come up with stuff on the fly,
Yes, you can. Very good. Here's a cookie. Joe speaks fluent Japanese and can wield a mean sword, and that's apparently enough to be called a samurai?
I guess.
Okay. I'm not. I can't. And so,
oh, please.
So Joe goes to war with the Katana Gang, which they would never actually call a gang Katana because that's insulting. And
why?
I would think that it would be considered insulting by Japanese people, but apparently I'm wrong.
Okay.
And Joe becomes a definite target of the head enforcer of the gang, imposing gentleman, and by imposing I mean his chin. A gentleman named Yamashita, who looks like his name should be Yamashita about as much as looks like my name should be Yamashita.
No, you don't look like a Yamashita.
Anyway.
Neither does he, but that...
My point.
I know.
Joe winds up deciding that one way to get back at the gang would be to sleep with the girlfriend of the boss of the gang, Mr. Fujiyama. So he sleeps with his girlfriend, Jennifer, because that seems like a really great idea and some crack police work, as in police work done by somebody who's smoking crack. And
which we do not condone.
We do not condone. We can't condone this movie either unless you're watching it with RIFFTRAX, because good grief, this movie hurts! Please go over the cast, because I can't talk about this
That's
anymore.
the whole thing? Okay.
Well, other than the culminating of the big showdown at the end of the movie where a shite ton of people get killed that we don't care about.
Matt Hannon as Joe Marshall, Robert Zadar as Yamashita, Mark Frazier as Frank Washington, Cranston Komuro as Fujiyama, Janice Farley as Jennifer, Gerald Okamura as Okamura. How original. Dale Cummings as Captain Romer, and Melissa Moore as Peggy.
I think she was one of the police officers' wives or something.
I thought she was the receptionist at the restaurant.
Maybe. I don't know.
And they have a number of places here that probably aren't credited either, because there's a lot more people listening on the film.
A lot more people who should be blamed for this terrible movie, but we're going to lay all of the blame squarely at the feet of director Amir Shervan, who is responsible for this piece of dreck. The thing is, when this film was finished,
it wasn't finished.
People went on with their lives.
And then it wasn't finished. He called him back in for more reshoots.
Yeah, the big problem was Matt Hannon, the star of the film, had cut off the luxurious mop on top of his head that he had when they were filming the movie. No problem, they just slapped a wig on him. And
a woman's wig.
Boy, does it show.
Yeah.
You would have been better off with a dead skunk tied to your head. But we weren't alone in watching this. Thank any deity you'd like to pick. Mike Nelson, Bill Corbett, and Kevin Murphy were there. The crew of RIFFTRAX saving the day and saving our sanity by helping out with great jokes for this incredibly awful, awful, awful film.
I think this is the worst film we've ever seen on a RIFFTRAX. I mean, this is even worse than The Room in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because The Room is at least enjoyably bad. This is just painfully bad.
This is just painfully bad.
And it's like, I was like,
this movie
really?
This movie is insulting to police officers.
They drop the F-bomb a lot.
Yeah. Can I just go over the list real quick?
Yep.
This movie is insulting to police officers, samurai, Japanese gangsters, the city of Los Angeles, the state of California, the planet Earth, the Milky Way galaxy, and pretty much anybody else you'd like to name.
In other words, this movie is frowned upon in this establishment.
Oh, you know it. Oh, wow, this is a bad movie.
It's terrible. What was the short? Do you remember?
The short was a short from about a young fella. The short was called Manners in School.
Oh, that's right,
And
yeah.
it was one of those shorts that they used to show somewhere. I'm assuming it's school, so you learn how to behave. I'm sorry, isn't that what the teachers and your parents are for?
They showed you the films to help you learn. We saw them when I was a kid. I know you probably didn't, but we did.
The only film I remember seeing in school was a film that they... I remember a few when I was very small. The one that really sticks out in my mind was one they showed us when I was in either 5th or 6th grade about how to behave on the bus and school bus safety and stuff like that. And it was full of horrible, bloody accidents and children dying in slow motion.
Oh,
and all this stuff like that.
So it was generally your Union Pacific type of thing.
Yeah. And
if you haven't seen it, you'll understand. Union Pacific ran several times on Mystery Science Theater 2000.
Our school that I went to at the time, everybody walked.
Yeah. You all lived that close.
Yeah. They didn't even have a school bus.
You were at the vets at that time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't ever want to get on a school bus again. They're horrible things. I'd actually never been on a school bus. I lived so close to school all through elementary school. I always walked to school. So... I didn't actually get on it.
You didn't walk to high school.
No, I said elementary school.
Right, but I mean...
Junior high and high school, I took the bus.
Okay.
Or Drove with Stacy, which was taking your life in your own hands anyway. Hi, Stacy. But Manners in School is the story of a young fellow who is misbehaving and being
It's one of those talking drawings things.
Yes. He draws a drawing on the school board, the school chalkboard, and it comes to life and lectures him. I'm sorry.
Chalky, wasn't it?
Yeah, Chalky.
Because he's supposed to be erasing the blackboards for his teacher, and he gave his teacher lip when she was telling him that. So.
I'm sorry. When I had hallucinations when I was a kid, they were much better than that. Wow.
Could have been the spring thing.
Shoot! No, don't do that. Oh, crap. But seriously, Samurai Cop, you cannot watch this movie without having somebody misty it or mistying it yourself, because it is so achingly bad.
In all fairness, the acting isn't terrible. The actors are doing the best they can with the crap that they have to read.
They're better actors than the actors in Birdemic.
And some of them in the room.
Yeah.
They are a little bit better, and it's mostly the terrible script that they're trying to read.
Oh, man.
But, man, yeah. RIFFTRAX returns to theaters in July with their annual Summer Shorts Festival. Mm-hmm. They will be joined by Bridget Nelson and Mary Jo Pehl and a number of special guests.
Yes.
Trace Beaulieu and
Frank Conniff.
Frank Conniff will be back also.
Paul F. Tompkins. It's going to be a shorts extravaganza, and
last year's was hilarious. They had some great stuff last year.
June 15th is going to be when the shorts is extravaganza.
The shorts is coming.
Yeah, and August 17th, RIFFTRAX will be showing Doctor Who: The Five Doctors.
I'm interested in seeing what they do with that, because although I'm a big Doctor Who fan, The Five Doctors does have moments where this might really work well. So I'm like, okay, it's a great special. And it'll be a chance for them. And I really think they should get somebody from Doctor Who to do this with them. Guys, Matthew Waterhouse lives in Connecticut. Give him a call. He didn't get to do that. They killed him off by that point. I mean, honestly.
But seriously, RIFFTRAX, Samurai Cop, Kevin, Mike, Bill, you guys deserve a medal.
For sitting through that piece of dreck.
Y'all deserve sainthood, really.
Oh, God.
The best movies! Subject Cinema!
Headed back to the dark side of the moon this week with our 13 report from the new season of Mystery Science Theater 3000. And one of my all-time favorite, really terrible disaster films. I'll be talking about this on Catastrophe Vortex in weeks ahead also. Rock Hudson, doing his best Liberace imitation. And Mia Farrow, starring in 1978's Avalanche! Can you give us a quick rundown? As if that isn't enough.
Okay. Avalanche is a terrible film. It's a disaster film.
No, that's not hard. That's not enough. It's not a terrible film.
It's an effing terrible film.
It's an epically bad film.
It is. Avalanche tells the story of a millionaire played by Rock Hudson who has decided to build a hotel and a ski lodge and all this stuff in an area of the United States where the ground is not all that stable, and has wanted to add expansions to it, and has invited all these people to come to the grand opening of the hotel, including his ex-wife. Why she would show up, I have no idea, since she's his ex-wife and owes him nothing. But everything is not as well and peachy as you would think it is in the world of David Selby. Is that his character? Shelby. In David Shelby's world.
You know why that is?
Why?
Because his brother George isn't there.
I wish you'd stop doing that.
Well, I'm sorry. He's Liberace all over this movie.
I think he's like... I think he sounds and acts more like Vince McMahon than Liberace, but anyway.
Maybe a combination of the two, and that's a terrifying thought, isn't it? Okay, anyway.
And I just threw up in my mouth again. A local environmentalist played by Robert Forster, is trying to warn David that the area around where the expansions to this hotel is being built is not stable. And of course,
as in snow stable. It's a mountain after all.
Well, the snow and the script aren't very stable, but
the script is not stable at all.
David can't do anything about the script, but he can do something about the advice from Robert's character. What is his character's name?
Nick Thorne.
Right. Yeah. He can ignore it, which is what he does as he invites all of these people, including his ex-wife, as I mentioned, played by Mia Farrow.
Caroline Brace is what she was going back to using her maiden name.
Yeah. Mia Farrow, who should have known better, and all of these other guests, including his mother.
This is a woman who didn't even know that her husband was sleeping with her stepdaughter. And you asked that she could better know that she'd know about this?
Okay, ouch.
But sorry.
That was mean.
I'm sorry.
It was accurate.
No offense meant to Woody Allen fans, but man. Clueless!
Well, anyway, the snow starts falling, and I don't mean snowflakes. I mean actual huge, enormous chunks of snow. And stuff goes in the dumper really quickly, and people have to try and escape. And a whole bunch of people gets killed because David is an arrogant, egotistical, narcissistic F-head, and the film ends.
With Rock Hudson as David Shelby, Mia Farrow as Caroline Brace, Robert Forster as Nick Thorne, Jeanette Nolan as Florence Shelby, David's mother, Rick Moses, wasn't he supposed to be huge, as Bruce Scott, Steve Franken as Henry McDade, Barry Primus as Mark Elliott, Kathy Payne as Tina Elliott, Jerry Douglas as Phil Prentice, and Anthony Carbone as Leo the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. This was even worse than I remember. We reviewed this movie a few years ago when I found the DVD for $4.99 at Sam Goody.
You paid $4 too much.
I know, but it's worth it. It's so cheesy and bad. It's really worth it. The only decent character in the film gets killed at the end of the film.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the hell?
It's like, F you, movie.
The wife is not exactly all there either. She's kind of narcissistic and doesn't want. I mean, she's more interested in hanging out with her ex's mother than with him. Of course, he's obsessed with her.
That's because he's an a-hole.
Well, he is. Yeah.
It's Mia Farrow's usual thing in a movie where she looks lost about 90% of the time, and the rest of the time...
She patented that in Rosemary's Baby and played that character for the rest of her career.
She's very lost and willowy, and she's got that reedy voice that kind of sounds like at any second she's going to break into hysterics. That whole thing. Picture that for an entire movie, and this is your film's heroine. And you might want to do some heroin after. It
should be pointed out the film was for New World Pictures, which is owned by Roger Corman at the time.
Yep.
And Corey Allen was the director, and Allen was unhappy with the budget cuts that he was given, stating, "I don't feel the aims of the film were fulfilled. There were heavy pressures on Paul Rapp, the line producer, to bring the film in ahead of schedule, and I feel that these were detrimental to the film." They shot it at the ski resort in Durango, Colorado. Mm-hmm. It was one of the most expensive films in New World Pictures history, was not a success at the box office, and footage from it would later be used a year later in 1979's AIP classic, Meteor. The Avalanche scenes and the scene were used there.
Uh-huh. I think you're taking the word classic and being extremely liberal with it.
I enjoy Meteor. It's definitely one of those guilty pleasure bad films. I said so on Catastrophe Vortex last week.
Yes.
Now, as far as the Mystery Science Theater 3000 stuff goes, once again, we had some top stuff here.
Yeah, definitely. The host segments included Crow T. Robot and Tom Servo trying to come up with a new television series called Mad Bots, based on the whole concept of Mad Men, because we needed another one of those.
Yeah,
No, actually, we didn't.
No, we don't.
Our guest this week let me back up a little bit. The invention exchange for the Satellite of Love was the mouth vacuum, which sounds like something out of a porno. Not that I'd know about that, but anyway. And the Mads invention was the Don LaFontaine 3000, which is supposed to take a phrase and change it into a movie title complete with the movie title font. Mm-hmm. I like the mouth vacuum better simply because that's fun to say. And if this was about 15, 17 years ago, I could be making a shite ton of Monica Lewinsky jokes, but
yeah, we're not going to.
It's not, so I won't. The special guest this week was the online boyfriend of King of Forrester, magician Neville Leroy, played by Neil Patrick Harris. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. They share a tender duet with the love song "Our Love Is on Wings You Can't See." Why am I thinking of tampon ads now?
Oh, God.
I really think I need to lie down. Serious.
Good night, everybody.
Serious. Kudos to the riffing team on this one. You guys got in some great jokes. And the fact that you had to watch this movie and made us had to watch it again.
Well, at least we had the help of the riffs.
Yeah, that made it so much better.
Yeah. What's next for this show?
Next for this show, well, for their show or for our show?
For the next 13 report.
Next 13 report, we will be taking a trip to the scenic south of the border.
Oh, God, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
As we review The Beast of Hollow Mountain.
And be warned, The Beast of Hollow Mountain doesn't actually appear until the final 20 minutes of the film.
Welcome to the soundtrack of your life. You're listening to Subject Cinema with TC Kirkham and Kim Brown.
Want to know what new films are coming out this weekend? Hi, I'm TC Kirkham of Subject Cinema, inviting you to check out 3 Minute Weekend, our weekly roundup of all the new films hitting U.S. theaters each weekend. We've got the 411 on all the new blockbusters, indies, and video-on-demand choices for you each week. 3 Minute Weekend, every Friday morning from Subject Cinema and eCinemaOne.com, a PNRNetworks podcast powered by Libsyn. Subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcast service.
We've got the films you're looking for. Subject Cinema with TC and Kim.
We're a couple weeks late with our supposed to be monthly segment on the people we've lost over the past few weeks. We call it our Take a Bow segment. Mm-hmm. March 17th, character actor Lawrence Montagna passed away. Lawrence was a character actor who appeared in a lot of things, but probably was best known for his role as Stan in the Amok Time episode of Star Trek.
Yeah.
He did everything from The Great Escape to Escape to Witch Mountain. Tons of episodics during the 60s, playing usually bad guys. He's been in all kinds of stuff. We did touch on it already once, but we could throw it in here because it did fall into that period. Legendary rocker Chuck Berry passed away on March 18th. He was 90 and died of a heart attack. What can you say about Chuck Berry? The man was a rock and roll pioneer, wrote some of the best, coolest songs ever.
Yep.
And just awesome stuff. Columnist and writer and TV personality Jimmy Breslin passed away on March 19th of complications from pneumonia. He was a Pulitzer Prize winner and best known for his daily columns about politics and sometimes about entertainment in the New York Daily News and Newsday. Was a regular commentator and also appeared as an occasional guest on a lot of sports programming too, because he was a big sports fan.
On March 21st, we said goodbye to Chuck Barris, who passed away at the age of 87. He was an American television producer, game show host, and all-around incredibly strange person. Especially known to those of us who grew up in the 70s and 80s as the host and creator of one of the weirdest shows ever put on TV.
Which is coming back on ABC in 3 weeks.
Again.
The
Gong Show.
Starring a very heavily made-up Mike Myers as some British comic.
He also was involved with other shows like The Dating Game.
Newlywed Game. Three's a Crowd. The $1.98 Beauty Show, among all of those. And he wrote the hit Palisades Park, which I didn't know until a few years ago.
Yeah.
Big hit for Lou Christie. I think it was Lou Christie. I'm not sure who did that. Might have been Freddie Cannon.
His story was portrayed in the film Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. How much of it is true?
Is anybody's guess.
Where he was portrayed by one of our favorite actors of all time, Sam Rockwell.
And George Clooney played the other. He was the director and did a manager job in that. Character actress Lola Albright passed away on March 23rd. You may not know the name, but she was in a lot of stuff in the 1940s and 50s. She appeared quite frequently on television in the 50s and 60s, including Peter Gunn and a number of other things. She was 92. Actress and comedian Chelsea Brown passed away on March 27. She was 74. Brown was an Australian actress who was best known in the States for being a regular for a couple of seasons on Rowan and Martin's Lap-In.
Yeah.
But she went back to Australia and became a star of their hit body hit sitcom Number 96 for a number of years. She died of pneumonia. On April 1st, and there hasn't been anything bad said about Gary Austin, the founder of the improv group, The Groundlings. He'd been suffering from cancer for a number of years. The Groundlings has given us so many great talents over the years. Some of the ones that are unsung, John Crane from Roundhouse, who would continue to do stuff with them for a long time. Chris Jericho's a graduate of the Groundlings.
There have been a ton of people that have cut their improvisational teeth as part of the Groundlings.
And Austin was one of the major people behind that. He was 75.
April 6th, we said goodbye to Mr. Warmth. John Rickles passed away at the age of 90. He was one of the most acerbic and incredibly funny comedians out there. He has been in pretty much everything from war pictures like Kelly's Heroes to horror movies like Innocent Blood to Martin Scorsese's Casino.
Number of sitcoms of his own, including The Don Rickles Show and the hilarious CPO Sharky from the 1970s.
Yep.
He was an amazing performer, and his persona was put downs. And yet, you never felt bad when he put you down.
No.
He always twisted it with a laugh, and the people knew he wasn't serious.
And everybody who knew
That's why
him,
he was a success for
and
so many
everybody
years.
who knew the real Don Rickles said he was
one of the nicest people in Hollywood.
Most kind people they ever met.
British actor Tim Pigott-Smith passed away on April 7th. He's done a lot of stuff over the years, including Clash the Titans, V for Vendetta, probably best known for the miniseries The Jewel and the Crown. He got his big start on Doctor Who back in the Tom Baker era.
Who didn't?
Yeah. Oh, see what you did there?
Didn't even mean to.
Actor Peter Hansen passed away on April 9th. Hansen was in all kinds of stuff in the 50s and 60s, but he became best known for his long-running role on General Hospital over the years, where he was until just the last few years. He was 95. Singer and actress Linda Hopkins passed away on April 10th. Linda was a Tony Award winner in 1972, best known for Pearly and Me and Bessie on Broadway. She had definitely a long life. 92 she was when she passed away on April 10th. Up our way, the Boston area was extremely saddened by the passing of Jay Giles, the leader of the Jay Giles Band, at age 71. He was... you actually said, I never knew there was a Jay Giles band.
I'm an idiot.
You're just not, you think of Peter Wolf as their leader, so it's not really...
I just assumed that was a name they just picked out. I was like, oh my gosh, there actually was somebody in the band named Jay Giles. Yes, I'm an idiot.
I didn't say that.
No, you didn't have to. I did. And I know people out there going, you're such a moron.
He was 71. That same day, also, we lost Toby Smith. He was the keyboardist for the British band Jamiroquai, best known for Virtual Insanity here in America. He was just 46. On April 12th, Charlie Murphy passed away. Murphy, known a little bit as an actor, but best known as a comedian and songwriter, usually in connection with his younger brother, Eddie Murphy. He had written a number of Dave Chappelle's television shows, also worked on Norbit, which didn't help it any, apparently.
No.
And the Boondocks.
I don't think anything would have helped that.
He was 57 and passed away due to leukemia. Clifton James passed away on April 15th, a character actor. He's definitely one of those, hey, it's that guy!
Definitely.
When you see him in anything he did from the 50s and 60s, and he was in Live and Let Die, Cool Hand Luke, 8 Men Out, and tons of other stuff. He was 96. WWE performer Rosie passed away on April 17th. Rosie, best known for teaming up with Shane Hurricane Helms for a couple years in the early 2000s in WWE Entertainment, and the older brother of current WWE superstar Roman Reigns. That took everybody by surprise. He was just 47, had heart failure. He'd been suffering from heart disease for a few years.
Yeah.
He was one of the really cool performers, though. We always enjoyed watching him.
We always did, yeah, definitely.
J.C. Spink passed away on April 18th. The youngest producer and entrepreneur, was responsible for bringing movies like The Butterfly Effect, The Hangover, and The History of Violence to the big screen. He was 45. On April 19th, after 5 days after getting acquitted for one of his crimes, former New England Patriot Aaron Hernandez committed suicide in his jail cell here in the Boston area. He was 27 if he committed suicide. His fiancée is insisting he did not. This whole if you're living in the Boston area, you're sick to death of this story. So I'm not going to go any further.
We've heard a lot about it. It was.
It's a national story. So
yeah. It's really. I mean, it's a sad thing when anyone that young decides to take their own lives. Although he had really kind of effed up his life till that
he
point.
major league messed up.
You know.
April 20th, Cuba Gooding Sr. passed away. He was Cuba Gooding Jr.'s father and the lead singer of The Main Ingredient, who had big hits in the 1970s, including Everybody Plays the Fool.
Yep.
He was 72.
And he also co-wrote several songs with Stevie Wonder.
That makes sense. They were all part of that era. Entrepreneur and talent agent extraordinaire Sandy Gallen passed away on April 21st after a long battle with myeloma. He was 76. He was a talent agent for practically everybody in Hollywood at one point or another, including Michael Jackson. He produced the movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and he tried to bring live television back in the early 80s with a show called Live and In Person, which he produced and hosted. It didn't last it was a 3-night special, and it got terrible ratings on NBC. What a shock. NBC was in third place at the time.
April 22nd was a very sad day for those of us who grew up watching 1970s television. We said goodbye to Erin Moran. She was 56 years old and passed away from complications due to throat cancer. Erin was best known to our generation as Joni Cunningham, later Joni Arcola.
Only in the very last few minutes of the finale of Happy Days.
Yeah. She was little sister Joni on Happy Days and went on to be on Joni Loves Chachi. And unfortunately, she did not have the success that other members of the Happy Days gang had after they left the show.
The big movie's as bad as Galaxy of Terror, which we've seen the trailer for.
Yeah.
Is it any surprise? Chris Beard passed away on April 23rd. If you're a comedy writing fan, he's a legend in the business. He was one of the top writers in the 1970s, writing for Rowan and Martin's Laugh In. Later was head writer on the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour. Also an on-camera performer on that show. Also did The Gong Show. He was 80. Kathleen Crowley passed away on April 23rd as well. Another character actress, best known for various roles over the years, including in the films Downhill Racer and in the TV series Maverick,
where she appeared 8 different times as 8 different femme fatale characters.
She did a lot of B movies that were science fiction and horror films in the 1950s as well. She's remembered affectionately by a lot of those fans. Character actor Don Gordon passed away on April 24th. He was 90. Another person who was one of those "it's that guy."
Yeah.
You know him, you see him. Bullet,
you
Papillon.
can't think of his name at first, but you're like, oh, him, yeah, right.
If Steve McQueen was involved, he was usually there. They were friends, and he was in practically everything with them. Legendary film director Jonathan Demme passed away on April 26. Hollywood has been mourning him ever since.
Yeah.
Been suffering from esophageal cancer and heart disease. He was the Academy Award-winning director of The Silence of the Lambs in 1992, and also Philadelphia and Rachel Getting Married, among other things. Actress Lorna Gray passed away on April 30th. She's seen in a number of movies, like Oh My Darling Clementine and Oh Susanna, but she's best known as the lead female in distress in the 1939 or 40 serial Captain America, supposedly based on the comic book, but it really wasn't because they just took the costume and changed the entire storyline.
Yeah.
She was in all of those episodes. She was 99. And performer, musician, tap dancer, and all-around producer Jack Immel passed away on April 30th as well. He was 84. Immel was known as a dancer and performer before he became a behind-the-scenes person as part of the Welk organization. The Lawrence Welk Show was his home for many, many years, and he continued to work with them until he retired in the mid-1990s. He was 84. May 1st saw us lose Stanley Weston. You don't know the name Stanley Weston, but I'll bet you somewhere in your house you have one of his toys.
Yep.
Stanley Weston was the creator of the action figure. He created G.I. Joe, and he was involved with a ton of other ones in licensing and marketing in the 70s, including most of the TV stars that you saw, the most of the TV characters you saw, like Atlantic Woman, $6 Million Man. He was involved with those marketing and licensing as well. He was 84. Quinn O'Hara passed away on May 5th. She was 76. Did a lot of different episodics and a lot of bit parts in films, but will always be known as the title character in the movie The Ghost with the Invisible Bikini. Actually, she's the girl with the invisible bikini. She's not the ghost. She's one of these beauties that you see every now and then.
May 9th, we said goodbye to Christopher Boykin, who may not be well known by that name as much as he was by the name that everybody knew him on when he got famous on MTV, Big Black. Christopher was the bodyguard, partner in crime, co-conspirator, and occasional reiner-in of Rob Dyrdek, the star of Ridiculousness and a whole bunch of other MTV shows.
Yep.
General mayhem causer and all-around nutcase.
Yeah.
Big
Black was such a cool and deeply goofy dude.
Yeah.
He was just 45. He's left behind a wife and kids, and I'm like...
Yeah.
Wow, I mean, he had a heart attack apparently, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it's very sad.
It is very sad. And character actor Michael Parks also passed away on May 9th. He was 77.
Definitely one of those, hey, it's that guy people.
Parks is best known probably for his role in the Kill Bill movies. He's also appeared in a number of Kevin Smith films recently, including Tusk and Red State.
Yeah.
Also in Twin Peaks over the years and From Dusk Till Dawn. My mother was a big fan of his television series, Then Came Bronson, way back in 1970. Lasted for one season. And finally, British character actor Geoffrey Bayldon passed away on May 10th. We knew Bayldon from an episode of The Tomorrow People, but he was in a lot of stuff over the years.
Yep.
Catweasel, Wurzel Gummidge, Casino Royale, the 1965 bad one that Kim doesn't like. Also, best known, I think, to American audiences as the captain of the Carpathia in the British Titanic film A Night to Remember.
Probably.
And he was just everywhere. Talk about your consummate stand-up British character actor.
Yeah.
You name it, he probably did it. He was 93. Subject Cinema says a fond farewell to all these wonderful performers and invites them to take a bow with us.
The best movies! Subject Cinema!
Want to know what top titles from film and TV are hitting home video this week? Hi, I'm TC Kirkham of Subject Cinema, inviting you to check out Tuesday Digidex, our weekly roundup of all the new home video releases in the U.S. each week. Whether it's DVD, Blu-ray, or streaming you're looking for, we've got it covered. Tuesday Digidex, every Tuesday morning, from Subject Cinema at eCinemaOne.com, a PNRNetworks podcast powered by Libsyn. Subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcast service.
Your every man's film school. This is Subject Cinema.
Love EUROVISION. The costumes. Ah, yes. Who can forget the milkmaids? The passion.
We are unstoppable.
The commentary? Oh, stop.
Hey, America. This is the second year in a row that America has got to be a part of perhaps the cheesiest music contest in all of music history. As Logo's Roth Matthews and Michelle Visage presented the American coverage of the 2017 Eurovision Song Contest. Kim actually watched it with me this year.
Yeah, actually I did. I actually stayed for the whole damn thing.
4.5 hours. And it's...
Which I usually don't do because I have an incredibly short attention span. Ooh, shiny thing.
Oh, stop. We actually were into this because I never really paid that much attention to Eurovision before because we never got it.
Yeah.
Last year we got it. I watched it. I got sucked in, and I got her sucked in this year. And of course, I listened to the songs. This year there were the 26 finalists out of 43 entries, and it was a good performance. It's always fun watching the performers and the songs that they pick for their countries.
Oh, definitely.
That were picked that the countries submitted. The rules are convoluted and hard to explain, but basically, each country picks an entry to the Eurovision Song Contest. It has to be less than 3 minutes long. They can't be political. Can't do any of this other stuff. And it has to somehow, although half the songs this year didn't, this year it has to tie into the theme. This year was Celebrate Diversity. How you get that from some of these songs, I don't know.
Actually, pretty much any song that doesn't preach hate probably celebrates diversity, I guess. I don't know.
We were sitting here and we were listening to the songs, and I had already purchased and listened to the songs on Spotify this year, so I could get an early look at it. And I had fallen in love with the song from Romania. It's this up with people-y kind of upbeat thing called Yodel It by Ilinka and Alex Floria.
Yeah,
has yodels in the chorus.
I love yodels. I like ding dongs a little better.
We're not talking about Drake yodels. Oh. We're talking about the yodel-hee-hoo yodels.
Eek.
It was a great song. I also liked the Romanian, the Bulgarian entry, Beautiful Mess by Christian Kostov.
That was terrific. That was a great song.
And also the Australian entry, we'll go into that in a minute, which was Don't Come Easy by Australian X Factor winner Isaiah, full name Isaiah Firebrace. Both of those two performers are 17 years old. Mm-hmm. And there was some other good stuff and some other bad stuff, and there was this song.
Some stuff.
There was this song in the middle of the competition. This bland, really slow, like unbelievably boring song from Portugal.
And don't mince words, Bones. How do you really feel?
It's just the singer Salvatore Sobral, another veteran of the talent shows over there, Idol, and a couple of other ones, sang this song. His sister wrote it, sang it out there, and it's just really slow, and it was in the native language, and most songs are in English these days, but he chose to sing it in Portuguese. And we're sitting there, and we're snoring, and we're listening, and you'll hear this later, and I'll tell you why. Amar Pelos Dois won the 2017 Eurovision contest. I don't know how this song... I was sure the fans, almost all of the juries voted for it. It ended up with a record high 758 points from the jury and the televoting. I didn't think the televoting would pick it. I really didn't.
I really didn't either.
And he's a great singer, and his voice is great, but the song is just really dull. When he re-performed it after winning, he brought his sister up with him to sing it with him. She wrote it, and she also subbed for him in the rehearsals because he has a heart condition and was told by his doctors, don't go on stage until you're performing. So, I don't know. Portugal has never won, and in fact had never even placed in the top 5 since joining the Eurovision in 1967. And so this is their first big win. I'm like, the song is just really kind of bleh.
It's a nice song. It's
depressing song.
It's a very...
We looked up the English language lyrics. It's really depressing.
It's a pretty song if you're into, like the Michael Bublé kind of stuff.
Although he actually is considered a jazz singer in his native country.
I'm not into that kind of stuff, so I'm like, okay.
Beautiful Mess by Christian Kostov finished in second place for Bulgaria. It was their highest showing ever. And then Sunstroke Project from Moldova with this weirdo dance number called Hey Mama, which everybody loved.
I liked it. I
just didn't, I don't know. I think it would be a hit on the U.S. dance charts if it came over here.
I think you're going to see it winding up at a bunch of weddings this year.
You didn't like Blanche.
No.
A song called City Lights, which finished 4th. I loved it, and she's only 17. She's really something.
That song just completely...
And the song that most annoyed me was the number 5 song from Sweden, I Can't Go On by Robin Bengtsson. Didn't care for that one at all. Australia was first invited to perform as an interim act. This is what they do between the actual performances and the voting results.
It's like the halftime show.
Yeah. In 2014, and as a result of the popularity they had, they were invited to participate even though they're not in Europe. So they have been a participant since 2015. Isaiah Firebrace is a marvelous singer. Don't Come Easy was my favorite song of the entire thing, except for Yodel It. And he's 17 years old, winner of Australian Idol, X Factor Australia.
Yeah.
And a native Australian all the way through. He's Aborigine.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing vocalist. Isaiah's stuff is available on Spotify. You can look it up. Just look up Isaiah Firebrace or Isaiah. It'll pull right up. And the album
great
is
stuff.
His cover of Adele's Hello from his first album, mind-blowingly good. We're going to have a special on Eurovision. We decided to riff it yesterday, and I don't know when it'll get up. Sometime in the next couple of weeks, we will have a Eurovision riff special version of Subject Cinema available. And it may be available only to Patreon subscribers. We're not sure yet. But it's 2 hours of us just shooting off our mouths about the songs, about everything, about the show, the hosts, everything else, and eventually we did shut it off for a while until they got to the counts and the winners, and then we turned it back on and we're commenting on it.
Most of that is bitching about Portugal,
because we're like, what the hell?
The votes going to Portugal.
Yeah, it's like, really?
We've never actually been to Portugal. We're sure it's a lovely country.
They know what we're talking about.
Well, you never know.
That special will be up in the next week or so watch for it. And congratulations to Portugal and Salvador Sobral.
You're listening to Subject Cinema.
The last reel.
Okay.
Baby news.
The last reel is where we like to report good news and happy stuff because we want to go out on a positive note. And I can't think of anything more positive than baby news.
You know what I have to say to that?
What?
Baby.
You're old. You're so old. Anyway.
If you get that reference, Subject Cinema at PNRNetworks.com.
And if you get that reference, guess what? You're old too.
Stop that.
Sorry. The baby news in question is not from us, so don't anybody panic. That rabbit's definitely not going to die. The baby news is in regards to...
Oh, my frog. Really?
No, it's actually Oh, My Rabbit. It's in regards to... Don't throw anything at me. WWE superstars Daniel Bryan and his wife Brie Bella, who have welcomed into the world a new baby. They had a baby girl on May 9th of 2017. Her name is Birdie Jo Danielson.
Now that's Birdie, B-I-R-D-I-E, you said,
yes.
Right? Just want to, not Birdie, B-E-R-T-I-E. I just wanted to make sure you're hearing that right.
B-I-R-D-I-E, Jo Danielson.
Odd name, but it's not bad.
I like it. I think it's pretty.
I've not heard of that as a formal name. Usually it's a nickname.
No. But Daniel and Brie are kind of, like, weird. I mean, in a nice way. I mean, I know we're ones to talk.
Well,
but
considering his whole vocabulary consists of the word yes!
No, it doesn't. Stop that. So
you tell I'm not into wrestling the way I used to be.
So congratulations to Brie and Daniel on having their little baby and everything going well. And mom and baby are happy and healthy, and that's really awesome. So we wanted to send out heartfelt congratulations and love and wish you guys, happiness as parents and goodbye sleep.
Mm.
And that is the last reel for this week.
Real movies for real people. Subject Cinema.
It's just about time for us to stroll on out of here. We've got a few little quick announcements before we go.
Mm-hmm.
First off, the other ticketing service I mentioned at the beginning of the show that I couldn't think of the name of is DealFlicks.com. And it's spelled DealFlicks, F-L-F-L-I-C-K-S. They offer up to 60% off of movies in particular theaters in your area. And you definitely want to check them out. You go in and you put in your zip code or your city. And they do have a app you can download for your Google or Apple store that you can use too. And they have really great deals on some of their stuff. So I just wanted to get that in. Also, before we go, speaking of apps, the Subject Cinema apps are now ready. At least the new Android app is up. It's updated and everything. You can get it for free in the Android app store on Google Play. We'll have it up in Amazon in the next week or so, and we should have an Apple version Won't be exactly the same, but it will be similar. Will be up before the end of the month. I'm still the Apple, the place that does our Android app does not do Apple apps, and it's making me crazy because the Apple apps are impossible to get the way I want them. So I'm working on it, but it should be up by the end of the month. Also, we have joined the people over at Medium.com. You can now get news and posts and podcasts from eCinemaOne and eCinemaBoston over at Medium.com. You go to Medium.com/eCinemaOne-eCinemaBoston, and it'll give you all the stuff we have on both those sites right there. It won't update stuff when I screw up on Medium because it only takes the first post, like the post I did on Eurovision where I forgot a very popular song and I updated it this morning. It doesn't get that, but you will get, there's cross links, and please let people know we're on Medium.com, okay? We want people out there. And as always, don't forget about our Patreon campaign. Really need some help with this, and we can't upgrade without your help, and it would be really nice if you guys took the time to donate to us, $2, $5 a month.
That would be great.
It would be a big thing for us, and we want to expand and make the show better, make the sites better, but we can't do it on our budget right now. We need your help, and we hope that you will come aboard at patreon.com/PNRNetworks. Don't forget that next week is our double feature weekend. We'll have shows on Saturday and Sunday devoted to the 2017 Boston Spring Festival season. One show will be all about the festivals, another show all about the movies, and we will talk about them and review a few of them and have them all out there. If not, we won't have time to review everything, but we will give you the titles and picks that we had from these as well as reviews, and let you know where you can find it. And of course, it will be accompanied by our annual PDF with links to everything in the Boston area, and we hope that you'll check it out when it comes available as well.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks, we are changing completely for the summertime. As we launch Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer, we've teamed up with Going Attractions, the definitive history of the American Drive-In, and drive-ins.com to bring you a summer full of goofy, fun, drive-in-based entertainment. Anthony Lamberti and Eric Lyon will be on board with us with regular features. We will have a bunch of other stuff. We will be talking about classic schlocky drive-in fare, concessions, drive-ins themselves, drive-in salutes, and a lot more, running Memorial Day weekend to Labor Day weekend all summer long on Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer. And don't forget about, we're only a few weeks away now, the Drive-In Summer will not disrupt the 12th Annual PNR Rising Stars Honors, which will be coming your way on Tuesday, July 4th, 2017, with all new lists of performers we are keeping our eyes on, and we think you should too. It will be a special regular edition of Subject Cinema, smack dab in the middle of Drive-In Summer. So you definitely want to check it out as well.
Definitely do.
We have a bunch of other shows, too.
Yeah, we have other shows, including my show, Platinum Rose's Garden, which is my Supernatural podcast, where I talk about this week's episode of Supernatural.
Only 2 more shows left. No,
Yeah.
3 more shows, because you'll have to do the recap show.
I have to do the recap show for this week's episode. There's something about Mary.
She's not looking forward to it, from what I've heard. She hasn't done it yet. We're late.
It's causing a lot of controversy, so you'll have to come check it out over at PlatinumRosesGarden.com.
And there's Catastrophe Vortex, will be back weekly this Wednesday with all disaster movies all the time. Yours truly as the host. Also, our mini shows, 3-Minute Weekend on Friday with all the latest film releases in the U.S. and Tuesday Digidex on Tuesday, all the latest DVD, Blu-ray, and streaming releases in the U.S., hosted by yours truly. Cavebabble with Eric and Valerie Lyon is on hiatus, but you can catch all their old stuff at Cavebabble.com. They will be back with new shows later on this spring. And we have a brand new show debuting late in May or early in June. It's called The Comic Grotto with Aunt B and Pee Wee, all about comics all the time. I've talked over the format with Anthony, and it is going to be a lot of fun. And it will be available when the site goes up at comicgrotto.com.
Yep.
A lot of great stuff coming up. Also, don't forget, as we said earlier, we will have a very special of our riffs from Eurovision up at some point in the next week or so.
Mm-hmm.
It won't be available on YouTube because I know the second it goes up there, we're going to get hit because it's got the audio from Eurovision in the back.
Yeah.
So it will be up.
Can't do that.
It will be up primarily on our audio outlets. And of course, we're talking over it, which kind of does make it, it means that you're not going to be able to charge us or anything with that.
No, hopefully not. No.
People are not going to pirate it to hear the songs.
Yeah, you can't really hear the songs very much because
exactly.
we're talking over them.
But
That's
it'll be
kind of
fun,
the
and
point.
we hope you'll check that out. It should be up sometime in the next week to 10 days. So please keep an eye out for it. And check out our websites, as you always do, eCinemaOne.com, eCinemaBoston.com, PlanetBM.com, home of Planet BiblioMusica, which we have not done anything with in the last year. I will catch it up in the next 2 weeks, I promise.
Yeah.
And coming back in June, the Kirkham Report, incorporating Marquee Mix, which still hasn't gotten off the ground, but I do have it ready, and I'm getting ready to go. We'll have more on that as we go along.
That's it.
Alrighty. Until then... For Subject Cinema, I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
May your popcorn always be buttered.
And may your roses always be in bloom.
It's off to the festivals next week.
Let's go to the movies.
You have been listening to Subject Cinema with hosts T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema is produced by PNRNetworks, Boston, Massachusetts, which is solely responsible for its content. Subject Cinema theme performed by Eric Lyon. Subject Cinema is recorded and produced using Sony Vegas products. Subject Cinema is copyright 2017 by PNRNetworks under a Creative Commons license. Check out a new episode of Subject Cinema every weekend. Until next time, this is Bob Taylor for Subject Cinema, and we'll see you at the movies.
That's all.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.